Welcome to another episode of Catherine's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a gumbo styled soup. It's going to be gluten free, of course, and it's fairly reasonable to make and it's pretty easy. So speaking of affordable, I want to show you guys the receipt. I spent $27.71 for this meal. Everything is all the ingredients are on there except for the seasoning that I'm going to get into and green bell pepper. I already had those at my house, so I didn't need to buy them. So let me just go through and explain each of the ingredients and how you can substitute it to make it cheaper, because it can be cheaper than $27. First, the chicken breast. Traditionally, when you make gumbo, you want to use like chicken thighs or like the party side wings. At least that's how my grandma makes it. I didn't want to be bothered with bones, so I'm like, I'm just going to cut up some chicken breasts. I was like, I just need about 1.5 pounds. I could not find a reasonable price for 2 chicken breasts. Like the Tyson chicken with the pack with 2 chicken breasts, they wanted like $8. So instead I bought the Heritage Farm brand from Kroger. There was like 5 pounds of chicken breast in there, and it was for $10. So I came with 5 pretty thick chicken breasts, so I only used 2. Cut that up, and I seasoned that with just salt and pepper. Next is the sausage. I love using this. It's about $3. If you want to use a cheaper sausage, go for it. If you like, you know, smoked sausage or anything like that, gumbo, you usually use, I don't know how to say this A word, but that's what you usually use when you make gumbo. So that's what I'm going to use. Next, shrimp. So Kroger had a sale for large shrimp from the fresh fish counter for $8.99 a pound, I think, for like jumbo. I was just going to get half a pound, so it's going to be like around $4 and some change. The fish counter was closed, so I had to get those little party shrimp cocktail things. This was the cheapest one I could find. It was $6.99. So you can definitely, if you get shrimp from the fish counter, it's usually cheaper than buying a bag of frozen shrimp. Or if you got a store that doesn't have a fish counter like Aldi's, but Aldi's shrimp is pretty cheap, so you can't go wrong going to Aldi's either. But that's where you can cut back on the pricing. Like I said, I had the green pepper already, and then I have half an onion in there, chopped up, 3 Roman tomatoes, and I just diced these up. I'm going to put all the ingredients in writing in the description box, so don't worry about that. I have 2 cans of diced tomatoes and tomato juice. I only opened 1 can. I'm going to see how much liquid I get. If I need to add another can, I will. For the chicken the chicken broth. This is a gluten-free meal, so I had to get gluten-free chicken broth. If you don't have celiac, you can get a cheaper chicken broth. I've seen them as low as like $1.50, so you can save some money right there. Lastly, now the seasoning you're going to have to spend some money on. I think I spent like $6. It's so worth it though, because you're only going to need 2 tablespoons of the seasoning. That's it. Just 2 tablespoons. It's really potent. I mean, you can get 206 servings out of this. If you want it to taste Creole-like, you need to get Tony's. No substitution. Unless you make your own Creole seasoning and you're comfortable with it, go for it. But I'm just gonna stick with Tony. Alright, so let's get cooking. I took about 2 caps full of canola oil and put it in the pan. So now I'm going to turn my stove to high just to get the oil hot. Okay, once your oil gets hot, you can tell that it's hot. You can just put your hand, you can feel the heat. Also, you can see like the little ripples in the oil. I'm going to turn it down to a little bit less than half. And I'm going to start off by sauteing my pepper and onions. So I'm just going to dump those in there. So let me get a spoon. So I'm just gonna saute these until they're a nice brownish color. And then for time reference, to see how long it takes to make this, it's really not 11:59 at night. I never set this, but we can just use this as a reference to see how long it takes to make this gumbo. But I said it was going to be fairly easy and quick, so hopefully that's right. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes, and the onion and peppers have sweated down to my liking. So next, I'm going to add in the sausage. Now, you're just gonna cook this until the sausage is brown on all sides. Might need to turn your heat up just a little bit. I'll say to the 6, just to get it hot enough to cook the sausage. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. Now you don't want to just put the sausage in there and then walk away. You want to flip it about every 3 minutes to make sure there's no burning. Now I'm just going to turn my heat down a little bit. I'm going to remove the sausage from the pan to make enough room to cook the chicken. So I'm just going to put it back. And if you grab some of the peppers and onions, that's fine too. You're just going to put it back in the pan. Now I like to cook the sausage before I cook the chicken because I like to cook the chicken in all of the juices and flavors that come off of the sausage. Because I only season that chicken with salt and pepper because I don't want to mess with the seasoning flavor that's coming from the Tony seasoning. So look at that pan. That's going to be so good when it deglazes from the other ingredients. So now I'm going to toss in the chicken. Okay. I may need to add a little bit more oil. But as soon as I put this chicken in here, I may not need any more. Yeah, I think I need some more oil. I'm going to add another capful of oil. Even better yet, I'm going to add some chicken broth to try to get some of that flavor from off the bottom of the pan. Like, why add more oil when I can just add some chicken broth? Oh, look at that. So I just added enough to kind of get that all off the bottom of the pan. Now that's, if it turns black, then yeah, that you've burned. But if you see like brown coating on the bottom of the pan, that's good. Don't take everything out your pan And then wash your pan before cooking the chicken, because you would have just rinsed away so much flavor. Just thought I had to point that out for some new cooks out there. So now I turned my heat back to 6. And I'm just gonna cook the chicken until it's white on all sides. Alright, so I think it's been another 10 minutes. I lost track of time. So, steamy. So yeah, let me turn the heat down to about 4 again. So I let the chicken chunks cook, and the broth that deglazed the pan. It smells amazing. Alright, so now here comes the easy part. We've crossed that hurdle. You've done the hardest things possible so far. So now I'm just going to add back in the sausage. There we go. And now we're going to add in 1 carton of chicken broth, or the rest of the carton that I had opened previously. This is the part of the recipe when you just dump everything into the pot and let it simmer. Alright, now I'm going to add that 1 can of tomatoes. Give that a stir. Wow. I think I can go ahead and add the other, because I want to make this soup last for at least a couple days. So I'm going to go ahead and add another can of tomatoes and another carton of chicken broth. Let me just go ahead and open both of those. So I've added another can of the tomatoes and then half of that second carton of chicken broth. I forgot to film myself adding those to the pot. Oops. Next, I'm going to toss in those 3 Roman tomatoes that I chopped. Now, I like adding fresh tomatoes, even though I'm using canned tomatoes, just because I think it just kind of brightens up the meal, gives it some more texture, because those tomatoes in the can are kind of cut down pretty small. So, and also I just like tomatoes. Yeah, that's another reason. And so now we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of Tony's Creole seasoning. I'm going to stir it, taste it, and see if I need another tablespoon. Always taste. Always, always, always. Always taste in between adding more ingredients. I cannot stress enough how important it is to taste things. Okay, so let me measure out 1 tablespoon of Tony. Okay, here is my 1 tablespoon of Tony. Now I'm gonna, here we go. Now I'm just gonna give that a stir. A little bit of the soup dripped off my spoon and hit the burnish. That is sizzling. Got scared for a moment. I mean, this is an electric stove, so I'm not trying to blow up. Okay, give it a nice stir. Now I'm gonna taste this to see if it's to my liking. It tastes alright. The soup is cold, so I can't really tell that if once it heats up, that spice is going to come out. Because it's kind of a late hit. So I'm going to turn this up to 8. I'm going to get this boiling, taste it again, and then see if I need to add any more seasoning. If not, oh, well, I guess I can add the shrimp. Yeah, I can add these shrimp. They are frozen. So I'm going to add the shrimp. Now, if you have shrimp that are already thawed, then I would wait till like the last 5 minutes to dump them in. But these shrimps are frozen. I think, do they have the shell on them? They might have had the shell on them, so I'm going to have to be careful when I'm eating this. But they're frozen, so I'm just going to dump them in there now. But like I said, if you have fresh shrimp and, you know, you're trying to be fancy, got someone coming over for the night to eat dinner, and you don't want the shrimp to shrink, toss them in like the last 5 minutes. So that when you serve it, you're like, yeah, I can afford extra jumbo shrimp. Anyway, I'll come back to this once it starts boiling. Alright, so it's been about another 10 minutes or so. Whew, it's starting to boil. Put that down. So, just starting to boil. Give it a nice turn. Steaming. So I'm going to give it one more taste. See if I need to add any more seasoning. Oh no, that's good. Yep. Just had to wait for it to get warmed up. Tastes kind of weird when it was cold. But yeah, that's pretty good. So now at this point, you can turn it down. And my burner is kind of going a little crazy right now. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I've turned it down to about a 6. So at this point, you can let it simmer for another 20 to 30 minutes. And I eat my gumbo with rice, so I prepared some rice. Now, this is pretty much it. It's a gumbo inspired soup, so this isn't like a traditional gumbo recipe, but this is what I can afford, and it was fairly easy and kind of quick to make. So give this video a big thumbs up, and until next time.